My name is Cam, and I had a gaming addiction that took over my life for 10 years until I was 21. This created huge problems in my life. I dropped out of school, I lost jobs and relationships, and I struggled really hard with depression. I'm not here to blame video games, and I'm not here to vilify gaming. What I want to share is my experience of addiction and the decision to ask for help that ultimately changed my life. Video games didn't start out as a problem for me. I was a fairly normal Canadian kid. I grew up with two loving parents who gave us lots of opportunities and a lot of love. I went to school, I played hockey, and after I would go home and play video games. I was happy, I felt smart, and I had friends. But that all changed in the 8th grade when I began to experience bullying at school and at hockey. So I stopped going. The less I went to school and the less I went to hockey, the more I found myself playing video games. Games were a place for me to escape to, somewhere I felt in more control of my situation and my life. Gaming felt safe, and it became all I wanted to do. I woke up every day, played for an hour, then other friends would log on, and I could socialize with them online as we continued to play. School was the last place I wanted to be. More and more, I saw no value in participating in the outside world. Eventually, I dropped out of high school and retired from hockey, the game I loved more than anything else. For the next year and a half, I lived in my parents' basement playing video games up to 16 hours a day. My parents told me that if I wasn't going to school, then I had to get a job. So I worked the odd job here and there, but I would only last a few days or maybe a month before I would quit once again. Sometimes I even pretended to have jobs and deceive my family. After my dad dropped me off at work, I would catch the bus back home, climb through my window, and go to sleep because I had been up all night playing video games. Looking back now, I'm embarrassed by this behavior, but at the time, it felt normal to do anything I could to play video games. Slowly, I got more and more depressed. I stopped caring about anything else. When I was gaming, I didn't have to think about how bad my life had gotten. I didn't have to think about how depressed I was. When I share my story, people ask me, "Didn't your parents do anything?" My parents were scared and worried. They saw me staying in my room all day and all night. I didn't want to do things together as a family anymore. I only wanted to play. They tried everything they could think of to help me, but they had no idea how to reach me. And honestly, I treated them horribly. If they had tried to impose restrictions or tried to get me to get a job, I pushed them away. If they tried not to bother me, then I never left my room. At that time, there was no information or resources to help families in this situation. Over the years, I went from feeling low to feeling really depressed to thinking of killing myself. I had lost jobs and even my relationship. I felt hopeless. This continued to get worse until one day when I wrote a suicide note. Thankfully, I didn't go through with it. And in that moment, I realized my life was in serious danger. I saw the only realistic option to save my life was that I had to change. So I asked my dad if he could help. He said yes, and I started working with a counselor. Hitting rock bottom gave me clarity that things needed to change. It made me participate in being a part of the solution. I had to show up to counseling and implement the lessons I was learning there. It wasn't easy. I had to be committed, and this over the long term helped me never give up. In life, there are moments when certain decisions you make change the trajectory of your life forever. Asking for help was one of the most important actions I took. I quit gaming and eventually I started GameQuitters.com, which has now grown to be the world's largest support community for people struggling with gaming. I am passionate about helping others who may be going through what I went through. Now there are resources for families and gamers who are experiencing problems. Still, many people struggle alone and don't ask for help. I get that. It's very hard to ask for help. For many people who are experiencing anxiety, hopelessness, or problems from gaming, they don't see a way out. One big barrier to asking for help is stigma. Many people find that others don't understand them, and they feel embarrassed to talk about what's really going on. Some people think that they should be able to solve this problem by themselves. They might try to quit on their own and find that they can't. I couldn't fix this by myself. I felt out of control and had no idea how to solve it. I needed help, and I am so grateful I reached out and asked for it. Many gamers worry about what would happen if they stopped gaming. What will happen to their gamer friends? Will they be bored? I understand these worries because I felt them too. What I found out though was very different from my fears. With the help of my counselor, I learned to find enjoyment in many new areas of my life and learned how to build satisfying relationships with people outside the gaming world. It took time and effort, but it was worth it. Counseling ultimately saved my life. It gave me a new hope, and it helped me learn how to have fun. It doesn't have to get as bad for you as it was for me. If you or a family member is negatively impacted by gaming, you don't have to struggle alone. Please tell someone. Please reach out for help. Asking for help saved my life, and I believe it can save yours too. Your life is worth fighting for. If you are looking for help, here are a few resources. The first is GameQuitters.com. This is the online support community I started for gamers and their families. You can also go to kindbridge.com. Their online counselors specialize in helping people with gaming problems to regain control of their life. Finally, if you or someone you know is struggling with suicidal thoughts, please contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255 or go to suicidepreventionlifeline.org.